Hi. So I posted something a little bit last week about how interestingly we're seeing a lot of people starting to use LimaCharlie, the part of LimaCharlie that allows you to do observability pipeline. So we're seeing a lot of people that are kind of sick of the really high cost of the other main observability pipeline, having to hire a whole ton of professional services and deploy a bunch of infrastructure and hire engineers to manage it. That are really just looking for this simplified, streamlined infrastructure, get out of the way kind of like version of that. And so I'm going to go and do the demo of that because I think it's kind of underrated in LimaCharlie. So I will share my screen. So all of this starts really by creating an organization. So app.limacharlie.io, create a tenant. It's free creating a tenant. I'm going to, create one, select the data center you want to be in, create. Couple seconds later, you're going to get bumped into the organization. So the tenant here. And here's the demo, what we're going to be showing today. So the demo is we're going to simulate deploying on-prem syslog collection and with cloud management. Now I'll get back to that in a minute. And we're going to get the syslog, have it parsed into JSON, apply some transformation to it as we parse it into JSON. And then we're going to create an output and we're going to send it to an S3 bucket with a different set of transformations. So just kind of give you the quick basic life cycle of doing observability pipeline stuff. So first step that we're going to do is we're going to go and create an external adapter. So an external adapter, it's pretty simple. Adapter is a collector in different world. So it's how we're going to get the data in. In LimaCharlie, you can do cloud to cloud. So let's say you have Office 365. You don't need to deploy anything. We do it all cloud to cloud, easy peasy. However, in this example, let's say we have syslog that's on-prem. And that's really what we're going to do. We're going to configure it in the cloud and then deploy it on-prem really, really quickly. And the management in the cloud means that for, either if you're managing a ton of them or you're managing it like an MSP or an MSSP across, tons of different customers, maybe you're doing MDR, the pain of having to go on those boxes and reconfigure things. So this automatically syncs all of those configurations from the cloud into those. And because we use infrastructure as code, it means if you, again, do that across thousands of tenants, it's super easy. You can do GitOps to get all of this synchronized, managed, deployed, version controlled, all that good stuff. So step one here, we're going to create one. I'm going to cheat a little bit here. So here I'm just describing the configuration for this particular adapter. I'm saying, hey, this is going to be syslog. You can kind of like disregard these. Those are going to be given to you when you just create an installation key, which is just, how you kind of authorize people coming in. The key interesting bits are the port. So here I'm saying you're going to operate as a syslog endpoint on port 4242. And here's a regular expression of how I want you to parse the data that's coming in. It's going to be syslog text. And we want to have that parsed automatically into JSON. Notes that are super important here, that is done in the cloud. So it could be really, really high throughput. You don't need a really big box on-prem to go and manage that. It's all done automatically in the cloud. The other part is the adapter. You'll see we'll download one, but the adapter is a binary that run on Windows, Mac, Linux, Solaris, OpenBSD, FreeBSD, ARM, everything you can possibly imagine, it runs on there. And we even publish containers that will make it super easy, for example, to, hey, deploy a Zeek container that has an adapter in a sidecar and just sends that straight into LimaCharlie. So trivial deployment, like really is not complicated. So we are going to come here and we're going to say, yeah, this is going to be, just JSON at the end of the day. And let's create it. All right. So we created our record. And what it means is that if I go here, I can grab the GUID of my record. Sorry. So the GUID of my record, so it's a globally unique identifier, is one of the 2 bits of data I'm going to need to go and do my deployment. So I'm just going to copy this for a second. And now we're going to flip to a terminal, random Debian box. If I want to go and download the adapter, very easy. They're all publicly downloadable. So, downloads LimaCharlie.io, just do that. I have a copy already here in this directory called LC adapter. We're going to launch it and we're going to say cloud. So this is usually the method of collection, right? Could be syslog or whatever. In this case, we're saying, you know what, don't have a configuration hard-coded here. This could be in a local config file too, but like here, I'm just saying, you're going to get your config from the cloud. Here is the globally unique identifier that you're going to use to connect. And here is the organization ID that you need. And so I'm just going to launch it. Beautiful. We're listening to 4242, exactly as intended. If I made a mistake, I wanted to change it, go in here, I say 4243, save. Within a minute, it will have the new config and we'll just start, auto update and listen on that port. So for now, what we're going to do is I'm going to send our local syslog into that particular adapter, and I'm just going to generate some dummy data just so that something's going through. So looking here, I can see that I am handling the connection. Things are going through. So if I go and I look at my sensor list, here we go. Our test syslog, I named it test syslog, is coming in. So I can look at the live feed. And again, I'm just gonna do dummy data. Here we go. Our data's coming in. You can see that the regular expression that we specified is parsing, that single text line into the bits that we said that we wanted. What I didn't do here is I could tell it like, hey, the timestamp here is the time of my event. So you can do these kind of custom mappings. So in this case, it's just grabbing the time as the data gets ingested. But we have our data coming in, and you see the routing here. So routing is with every event, you get kind of all detailed information about where that specific event came from. I could see the timeline. So LimaCharlie does 1 year of full telemetry retention. So what that means is all the telemetry coming in, through my pipeline gets retained for a year by default. And we do that built in. Like the cost, how do you calculate the cost? It's 20 cents per gigabyte. Doesn't matter the number of different adapters connecting. There's no like odd tiering or, complex, like the first 10, it's just 20 cents per gigabyte ingested. It includes the telemetry retention for a year. So this is really an amazing price. And the reason, kind of like I was describing in my post, is because, look, we are a cloud provider for cybersecurity capabilities. We are not a observability pipeline. Observability pipeline is a feature. It's not a product. It's not a vendor. It's just a feature at this point, in cybersecurity. So for us, it's table stakes. So here we go. We've got all of this coming in. That's great. Let's do the next step here, which is to create an output. So, okay, this data's coming in real time. I'm not even mentioning the automation rules. You can run over it. But next, we want to start sending it to different places. I'm going to cheat again for a second. I've got this here. So I'm going to say, you know what? I want to send the event into an S3 bucket. This is the name of my output. It's called my bucket is the name of the bucket. I'm going to take my key ID, my secret key from Amazon. And then here, I'm going to decide, okay, well, do I want everything to go into that bucket? Do I want some things? So I could go and I could say, you know what, this is going to be a ton of syslog because I'm deploying this on, 10,000 syslog, like Linux servers everywhere. Could be Windows, right? You could be collecting Windows event logs with this, or macOS unified logs natively. But I'm going to say, you know what, I want to keep 1 on 10 is my sampling rate, meaning I'm going to keep 10% of this that I'm going to be sending to S3 because it's too much data. I don't need the whole thing. I'm going to specify a custom transform. So in this case, I'm saying, you know what, I don't need all of this data. What I really need is I want a field that's going to be called time, and it's just the timestamp from my original event. Real easy. Then I want a data object within these events, and it's going to have a host underscore TOK. And that's going to be the tokenized version of my host. I want to anonymize this. I don't want, maybe I'm sending this to a different vendor or somewhere. They don't need to have that host name, so I'm tokenizing it. And then prog ID, which is going to be a string with the name of the program dash the PID. I don't know why I would want that. It's not to us to decide. You can, build whatever you want. I could also say, hey, you know what? It's only from syslog that have, I don't know, like the web server tag. I could also say, you know what? It's only specific events that I'm collecting from those syslogs. Only specific events I want. You could go all the way down to saying, here's an automation rule. Only send events that match this rule. And you could do like CVE checks. You could do all kinds of things in that automation. Bottom line, I hit gzip, save output. That's it. That is all I had to do. Within a couple of seconds, I'm going to start receiving, in this case, files in my S3 bucket. And it's just going to start streaming just continuously. I could go and it could say, you know what? I also want to do, oh, that's an interesting bug in the UI. Oh, all right. This is a brand new UI. So I'm going to create an output. I want a different one. In this case, I want to send things into, Webhook bulk. There I have this other platform. Again, I could do, the same thing, enter a destination, like all kinds of keys, all kinds of different transforms, and just hit save. And it would just start going. And if I ever want to change it, I could just use infrastructure as code, push an update to, 5,000 tenants, no problem, all the way through Git. We even have a Git integration where you can just only deal with your Git repo. You don't have to log into here. It just syncs, at recurring interval, your merges. So this is just really an amazing platform because of its simplicity and power, right? Look, what this does is like the observability pipeline of, I have this data, I need to apply transformation over it. I want to send it and route it to all kinds of other systems. And to do that, with the LimaCharlie getting out of the way, making it as easy as self-serve as possible, and manage that scale. That is really what we do. So yeah, hopefully that was cool. Hopefully that was good. And thank you.